Well, hello, my friends. I hope that your week has been fantastic and you've got awesome plans for your weekend. Now that spring is around the corner, it's time to do a quick buyer refresher course because a lot of buyers are going to be heading out the door on home tours, and it's really easy to focus on all of the pretty stuff. But as I'm looking at homes with my clients, I'm always looking at the things that equal future costs because small things add up to a lot once escrow closes. All right, so here are some of the big things I want you to be looking out for as you're touring homes. Number one, the condition of the roof. Does it look like it's been well maintained or shabby chic? Shabby chic is not the way we want our roof to look. Number two, are there gutters? So many homes in Orange County are older, and a lot of them actually do not have gutters. So pay attention to that because that's going to equate to drainage work later on, and of course gutters, because you'll want those on the house at some point sooner rather than later. Number three, the age of the HVAC. That's your heating and air conditioning systems. These are expensive to repair and replace, so pay attention to what those look like. If they look old and craggly, they're probably getting to be at the end of their useful life. How about the water heater? Does that look like it's been there since Jesus was a baby, or does that look newer? Something to think about. That's another expense down the line. How about the switches and the outlets? Electrical fixes add up, so pay attention. If there's a lot of weird switches that go to nowhere, that's something to be thinking about electrical later on. And number six, this is a biggie. When you're walking through that house, I want you to look up. I want you to pay attention as you're in the bedrooms and the living spaces. Is there overhead lighting? Because you're going to need to take into account if you're going to buy a bunch of lamps or build in that expense of overhead lighting once escrow closes. And number seven, is there a sprinkler or irrigation system on the property? Again, Orange County has a lot of older homes with larger lots. Don't assume that there's sprinklers on the lot, even if there's grass there. I still have neighbors that hand water their lawns, and my neighborhood isn't even that old. So, quick personal story. When we purchased our first home, it was straight up out of 1962 on a 1/4 acre with an amazing backyard for our kiddos. We had no idea to think about the irrigation. There was not one sprinkler there. So that was definitely an expense that we did not anticipate that we had to take care of once we moved into the house. So these are the details that matter. And speaking of details, the other things buyers need to take into account when they're looking at the house and loving it enough to maybe make an offer is what actually stays with the house, because assumptions can cause problems later. Trust me on this one. So you'll want to confirm things like TVs, the ones that are on the wall and on a bracket. What is the seller's intention with those TVs? The TV is allowed to go with the seller. It's considered personal property, but the bracket is considered a fixture of the home. So find out if the seller's intention is to indeed leave that bracket. If not, and they're going to take it with them, you want to get clarity on that first before you open escrow. And the refrigerator, not just the kitchen refrigerator. Pay attention if there's a refrigerator in the garage or maybe one out in the backyard or in the dining room bar area. You need to make sure that if you want those, get clarity before writing your offer and opening escrow. How about things like the washer and dryer? Of course, we want to ask about those. Outdoor TVs, patio heaters, barbecues. What is the seller's intention with those items? The other thing to really think about are things in the house, mounted shelving, and in the garage, built-in shelving or cabinetry, storage, that kind of a thing. Don't assume that all of it will be there when you get the keys. Find out the seller's intention with those items. Things that are fixed to the house, like shelving in the house or out in the garage, are considered fixtures of the property, and technically they are supposed to stay with the sale. But I've learned it's really good to get clarity nonetheless and assume nothing. All of these need to be clarified early, not during the escrow process. So as you're touring homes, I really want you to fall in love and have fun, enjoy all the prettiness of the house, the layout and the lifestyle that you can imagine. But I also want you to pay attention to the details that equal expenses later on, dollars you didn't anticipate spending after the close. That's how you buy smart, not just with your emotions. And of course, if you're thinking about purchasing a home in the spring or down the road, you know we'd love to get a cup of coffee and talk strategy with you. All right, let's talk about what's happening in sales and inventory this past couple of weeks. Surprising to me what's been going on out there. Let's take a look. So San Clemente, last time we talked, was at 93 homes on the market. This week, they're only at 94, one home more. That's because we've had some really good activity. 13 new listings, 16 new escrows, so outpacing new listings, and 13 closings. 12 homes saw price adjustments and 3 came off the market in San Clemente. Over in Dana Point, they did go down by 1. They were at 92 homes last time. Now they're at 91. Also because of some good activity there. 7 new listings, 10 new escrows, outpacing the new listings. 5 closings, 5 homes saw price adjustments, and 5 came off the market in Dana Point. Now, our friends in San Juan Capistrano, they got the message that it's spring, and they went up from 32 to 48 homes on the market now, with 10 new listings, 8 new escrows, and 11 closings. 3 homes saw price adjustments, and 2 came off the market in San Juan Capistrano. All right, as usual, scroll through this email to find ways to search new homes, existing homes, check out your home's value, check us out on Google. You know we would love a review from you there. You're already on my YouTube channel, so hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll always be notified of new content there. And of course, we've got you covered for this weekend's open houses, both our own and other fabulous homes out there this weekend. And of course, we're always here for any questions. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time. Take care.